Good morning, 30 Dayers. Welcome back to 30 Days, 15 Minutes for the Entrepreneur, brought to you by Needs Be Done. Needs Be Done is a home services platform that connects home service providers to clientele. If you're looking to grow your home services business, cleaning, plumbing, moving, furniture assembly, anything that's related to the home, please feel free to go to our site and sign up as one of our providers at www.needsbedone.com. My name is Ursula Dunn, and I am the owner of Needs Be Done. I will be your host for the 30 Days, 15 Minutes for the Entrepreneur. I promise to only take 15 minutes of your time or less. I haven't been delivering on that brand promise over a couple times this week, but hopefully gave you really insightful information. But going forward, I'll make sure that I stay to our time constraint. Sorry, but there is homework. I do want you guys to leave this 30-day journey with something very tangible to either inspire you or just to go forward with your business altogether. So the short homework assignments are about 5 minutes and meant to just get you thinking about the topic of the day. And our agenda follows the topic of the day, inspirational quote, case study, and tips. Fortunately, this is not an interactive session as due to the time constraints, but I am offering a free 30-minute virtual coffee session with myself that you can schedule for next week. We have 5 openings, so if you're interested, please email me at info@needsbedone.com. I just want to go through kind of a week in review of what we covered last week really quickly. We covered business feasibility plans on Monday, and we then covered business plans on Tuesday. And those are 2 of our resources that, before you even launch your business, it tells you whether or not, you're prepared to launch. And then we went through some foundational steps for starting a business, what you need to do to get your business registered. And then we did Despise Not Small Beginnings, bootstrapping. We provided resources that were free or low cost for entrepreneurs to help, especially when you're on a constrained budget. Then we talked hustle and grind, let's get to work, of all the many different hats that the entrepreneur has to wear. And then be laser focused yesterday. So avoiding distractions. We gave a couple of techniques for avoiding the inevitable distractions that are going to come your way. So that brings us to today, which is forget perfection, make mistakes, and take risks. So as an entrepreneur, you're going to make mistakes. And our quote for the day is, "This might shock you, but you should fail during the course of your business," by Mike Capel. This is so true. You are going to make mistakes. You're going to fail. The difference is going to be what you do with that failure and how you fail, right? Um, you know, for our case study today, we have Dyson Vacuum, started by Sir James Dyson. And I'm just going to go through this really quickly for the sake of time. But he failed 5,000 times before he came up with that fastest selling vacuum ever. He created 5,000 failed prototypes. Talk about, resilience. So how many of us would have kept going after 5,000 times, right? Um, However, he was able to create a multi-million-dollar business out of it, and the Dyson vacuum is one of the staples in the vacuum industry today. So one of his quotes specifically from him was, "Enjoy failure and learn from it. You can never learn from success," right? So let's get to some tips. First, I'll give you some stats. 6.5 million businesses launch every year. That's a lot of businesses, and that's encouraging. However, the statistics also say that 90% of them eventually fail. So about 21% fail in the first year, 30% fail in the second year, 50% fail in the 5th year, and 70% fail in the 10th year. The rates of failure will vary by industry. So if you're interested, you can look at it by your industry. And I give you these statistics not to intimidate you or to scare you, but to get you excited. So what you can get from this information is that you should absolutely learn from others' mistakes, right? So I spend a lot of time looking at how my competitors fail so that I don't fall into the same pitfalls as them, or I leverage their learnings from their failures to make sure that I can learn from it and not reinvent the wheel in that area. You can learn from other industry mistakes as well. Some of the more common mistakes that new entrepreneurs make are like entering an industry in which they have no experience, which you can. However, you just have to support. You have to really get the expertise that you need in order to be successful. Hiring an inexperienced team, not necessarily just that you hire an experienced team, but when you notice that you've hired the wrong person, not taking immediate action to correct that. Putting together a team that can't cooperate to work together efficiently, and failing to recognize the market has no need for their products or services, ignoring what customers want, refusing to be flexible and adapt to changing trends. So these are a couple mistakes that you can learn from right off the bat and not make those mistakes. So these are really, really important to the entrepreneur in your endeavor. Entrepreneurs who take advantage of mentors or third parties to help them and leverage their expertise tend to grow 3.5 times faster than those who don't. So finding a business mentor, which we'll talk about later in this series, is very advisable. It's going to help you, especially if you're new to business and entrepreneurship. Other entrepreneurs with prosperous businesses in your industry make great guides. Their input may be particularly useful if you want to launch a startup before, you know, uh, when you're still young too. So if you're a very young entrepreneur with very little experience, you may want to find an industry expert to kind of help and guide you along the way. Um, just don't let perfect be the enemy of good. So this was a quote from Gretchen Rubin in the Happiness Project. She coined that phrase. Sometimes you just have to launch your business at just good enough and improve over time. Think about it this way. How many updates do you get to your iPhone, right? Imagine them waiting to launch this until they had the programming absolutely perfect. We never get an iPhone, right? Perfection, especially for new business owners, is next to impossible. So seeking perfection can often intimidate you so that you don't even try. So when you change the mentality and give yourself permission to just be good enough, this will lower some of the anxiety of perfectionism, and then you can always improve along the way. If everything is working, if you're running your business and everything is working and you just may not be taking enough risk in your business because you'll experience some wins, but will they be the biggest wins that you can? So you can't be risk averse in your business. Take some risk. If you're not making mistakes, you probably aren't learning much more than you already know. So learning is just, mistakes is a learning opportunity. You're gonna have to go through it. You can't avoid it. Um, so here are a few examples that you can use for like when you think perfection, and you don't have to have perfection. So your business idea, for example, a lot of us want to wait until we have that business plan absolutely perfect before we launch, every little detail ironed out, every fact and figure together. That's not necessary. Just simply start your business. Like I said earlier, your business plan is a living document. It's something that's going to evolve over time. So if you go ahead and implement and start your business, you might find there are things that you would have never been able to include had you not just gone ahead and started because you learned something along the way. Like software, instead of ironing out all of the bugs, go ahead and just release that beta so that you can learn from the beta test and debug it as you go. In products, instead of adding every conceivable improvement and feature or whatever you want to do, make all the bells and whistles, just launch your product and then release improvements later, right? website. So instead of finding like the best server, theme, looking for the great font and best appearance, just get a landing page. Just start selling, okay? Start making money. Doesn't have to be perfect out of the box. And then an email, instead of just agonizing over, I got to write the perfect email. It has to be the perfect grammar and impeccable and, very professional. Just get the message out and click send. I was reading or listening to someone who was a public speaker, and he was a best-selling author, and he was like, his first book had so many grammatical errors in it, and it was a bestseller, and one of his readers actually emailed him and told him all the page numbers that he had errors on, and he was like, okay, and it's a bestseller, right? But his books improved over time. So, you're not going to be perfect right out of the box. Get okay with good, just get it going, get started. Um, One of the things you need to do is make sure that you are failing forward here at the bottom. So this is going to be my last point. Make sure that you're failing forward. When you fail, you should use a systemic method of investigation to find the reason for the failure, right? I work in quality, and we use things like the 5 whys and RCPS, root cause problem solving, corrective action and preventive action, in quality. And I use these same methods in my business when I try to figure out what went wrong and why didn't it succeed, so that I can then correct those mistakes, and take some immediate and focused action to correct the mistakes, right? So if you're making mistakes and you're not looking at the mistakes and trying to figure out why they happen and implementing corrective measures to correct it, and you're not getting the learnings out of your mistakes, right? So just to sum it all up, forget perfection, launch that ugly baby and fix it as you go. Make mistakes, take risks, because that's how you're going to get the bigger wins. That's how you're going to learn, and that is how you're going to evolve. Today's homework, I'd like you guys to write in a notebook, in your notebook that you've been keeping for the last 14 days. Yay, we made it 2 weeks. Find a systemic method to evaluate mistakes that you make. You can do a quick Google search and just find, mistake or investigation templates for small business. So like 5 whys, you can even take those. The 5 whys or RCPS. Those are age-old methods for investigating problems that are fairly easy to navigate. So share your insights on Facebook or Instagram. And like I said, feel free to reach out to me if you would like to schedule a 30-minute virtual coffee. And also sign up to be a provider on our website at www.deedsbedone.com. I hope you guys have been enjoying these sessions as much as I have enjoyed bringing them to you. We have an abundance of information, as always, coming to you next week. So I hope to see you next week as well. Otherwise, have a great weekend. Thank you for joining.